Hello and welcome to another scrapbookpal.com video. This is Carrie Rhoades with carriestamps.com. I am excited today to be making a pull tab card with the Mom Plus Me stamp set from Fawn. To start this card, I am going to be making a mask with the tree stump from the Mom Plus Me stamp set. I'm going to cut this out and then I am going to save the negative piece, and I'm going to end up using both of these as masks for this card. So I'm cutting this out right on the line. I don't want to have any extra space, actually leaving a little bit of the brown on the negative piece. I've die cut a piece of green cardstock with the grassy border, and I'm bringing that in to help me position where this stump is going to go for the front of my card. So I'll just lay that out, and I love that when I realize I don't have it centered, I can pick it up and move it over and get it right where I want it. So once that's in place, I'm bringing in the new grassy stencil from Fawn. I'm going to position that so the grass will be higher than the stump, and I'll tape that in place. And then I'm going to do some ink blending with this Distress Oxide ink Mode Lawn and a blending tool. And you can see I can go right over that mask and I don't have to worry about it moving. I'm using quite a bit of pressure to get the ink down in those crevices so that the grass really has a defined edge. And then I'll just go ahead and blend that out. And then I found that I could see some white around the areas of the grass, so I really concentrated on that area before I was done. So I'll peel that off, and then I'm going to use this same stencil as a mask. It has this built-in masking feature on the stencil, which I love. And then I'll bring in some Salty Ocean ink and put a little blue right above that grass because I'm going to make a cloudy sky above this, and it's just going to help it blend all together seamlessly. So here's the cloudy stencil, also new from Fawn, and I'll use the Salty Ocean ink to blend in or blend on some clouds all the way down the front of my card. So I'm not putting too much ink onto my blending tool here. I don't want it to be really, I guess, vibrant clouds. I want it to be a little bit soft. In the Salty Ocean ink, you can definitely apply a little bit more than I am and get a more vibrant look. So I just want it to be a little bit more soft for this particular card. So I'm doing 4 rows of clouds, and when I take the stencil off right here, you can see how the blended ink above the grass really helps finish this off. So now I'll remove that mask, and if you do it carefully, you can definitely reuse that again. And then I'll bring in that negative piece, and I'm going to put that all around the stump so that none of the green is showing. And then I'll bring in some ground Espresso Distress Oxide ink and a makeup style blending brush I thought would give me a little bit more control to stay in this smaller area. And I'm blending this out because I want it to look like dirt. So when I have my pull tab working and I pull my tab up, I want this to look like the dirt under the stump. So now I'm spraying my background with some water from my distress sprayer, letting that set for just a minute, and then I'll pick up any excess water with a paper towel, and that will give me a little bit of interest on that background. And I'll bring in my heat tool just to dry that a little bit because I want to splatter this with something else, and I didn't want it to cause too much wetness on the paper. So I take some of my liquid Stardust from Fawn, put it in a mini sprayer, and mix that with a little bit of water to create a spray. And then you can see I have the water droplets and the sparkly droplets as well. Now back to that little grassy border piece, I'm going to stamp my sentiment on there that says, "I'll always love you," and I will stamp that 2 times just to make sure I have a good concentration of that ink before I sprinkle on some white embossing powder. And I will tap off the excess and go ahead and melt that powder with my heat tool, and that will be ready to go. So I'll just set that aside. So once I start assembling, I will have that ready to go. And then now that my background's dry, I'm going to stamp the word Mom from the Mom Plus Me set with the same Salty Ocean Distress Oxide ink in about the center of the card. I'm going to repeat that just to really intensify that color because Distress Oxide ink isn't exactly made for stamping. All right, so now I'm going to stamp out all the little images I need for this card. I have walnut ink for the stump there and the Mom Plus Me that I will stamp in the heart. That's from Lawn Fawn, that ink. And then I'm going to use a bunch of flowers. So there's 3 different size flowers in this set. I'm going to stamp them each of them one time with plastic flamingo. I'll clean that off and stamp them all a second time with carrot ink. And then I will clean them off and stamp them a third time with sunflower ink. So I have lots of flower choices in the different colors. I'm going to stamp the little butterfly with the carrot ink, and I'm going to use 3 on this card. So I stamped those out. There's 2 different clusters of grass. The bigger one I am stamping with the ink Freshly Cut Grass, and then the little small one I'm going to stamp a little lighter with celery stick ink. So I've got the 2 different colors there, and I like that for something different. All right, then I have the Lawn Fawn Jet Black ink for the images I'm going to be Copic coloring. I have the little mama and baby owl from the Mom Plus Me, and then I'm bringing in some images from the stamp set Bug Deal. I'm going to stamp these 3 little insects to go in my dirt under my stump. Here's the Copic markers I'll be using to color today's images. I'm using some warm gray markers to color my owl. I'm going to start out with my darkest, which is W4. I'll blend that out just a little bit with my W2 and blend that out a little bit more with the W0. And to intensify those darker areas, I'm coming back in and doing a little bit more ink blending with those same exact markers. I'm not going to color their face just yet because I'm going to be using the W4 and I didn't want to get too close to what I already ink blended. I thought I would give that a chance to dry. So I'm using YG17 and YG13 for my caterpillar. I have E27 and E25 for the worm. I have some cool grays for my roly-poly, C6 and C4. And now I'm coming back, finishing off the faces of my little owls and adding some rosy cheeks. I'm taking the E34 marker and coloring in the stump. I'm not coloring over alcohol marker friendly ink, so I was just really careful not to color that too many times to make the ink bleed. So I die cut all of those and set them aside, and now I've brought in my pull tab die set. I die cut the 2 pull tab pieces from white paper, and now I'm taking these other 2 dies from the set and I will cut these right from my background. I like to do the top piece first, and then I'll come back in with that piece that cuts a slot or slit in the card, and I use that piece, that notch that I cut out of the top, to center my pull tab slot. Does that make sense? Yeah. I just use that to center up my T-square ruler, lay down this die that cuts the slit in the paper with that pencil mark I created. Now this is the mechanism that moves our piece up and down. You want to fold the little ends in a Z on each side, pinch them together and put them through that slot. And then I'm going to take some temporary adhesive and adhere my owl and my stump to that pull tab so I can figure out exactly where it's going to go. Of course, I wanted to attach the 2 together first because they're going to move together up and down on this pull tab. So there's my temporary adhesive. I want it only on the pull tab, and I'm going to line this up with the sponged inky stump, and then I can trace out this owl so I know how much of that pull tab piece I need to remove. I don't want it to show from behind the owl. So I'll cut that away on both sides. And you'll see at the end, I didn't quite cut away enough. So I will have to come back and do a little card surgery, as I call it, at the end. But you just don't want that to show. It kind of takes away from the look. So now to adhere this, I'm going to bring in some foam squares And I want this popped up because I am putting those cute little bugs under the stump. Just like in nature, you pull up the stump or the rock and there's a bunch of bugs under there. That's what I wanted for this card, because I thought, you know, a kid is going to show their mom that, or maybe the mom is going to show the kid that there's bugs under there. And I thought it was just like a really fun element to add to this card that would make any mom smile. So here I am sticking that on so it covers up the mask stump that we did before, and now I'm doing the card surgery, removing that piece of the pull tab that you can see behind the owl. It wasn't that hard to do. It's just not the most neatest, cleanest way to do it, but it worked. All right, so there we have it. It moves up and down, but now we need to make sure that that pull tab arm is not going anywhere. So we're going to use this sleeve, which I die cut from the pull tab die set. You're going to glue down the center section, and you want to put this right below that pull tab opening, making sure that the pull tab is centered before you press it into place. Fold over the larger side and then only put glue on the back of the smaller side and hold that down until it's dry. And then that's going to make sure that that pull tab arm does not wiggle back and forth. So with the arm in the down position, cut off any excess, and then we use this die to cut an extra piece that will go over the top and create an arrow so the recipient knows that there is an interactive element, and they just pull it up to make it move. I have a foam strip here that I'm putting across the bottom for my grassy border that we already put the sentiment on, and that's going to ensure that the stump will move up and down behind that grass. I did put my fingers behind the grass and kind of make the grass bend outwards a little bit to make sure there was plenty of room for that stump to go down behind the grass. Now I'm going to add in all my little critters, just gluing them into place so that there's that cute little surprise when the stump gets pulled up. Just make sure you don't glue any of them over that slot for the pull tab mechanism. There they are, so cute. Okay, so now we have all those grassy pieces and all those flowers and all the butterflies that we're going to glue on just to really enhance this scene. I think the flowers are perfect for springtime and Mother's Day, and I like all the different colors. It just adds that little pop of color that this card needs with the blue and the green. All right, and then I had leftover flowers. I didn't end up using them all, so I thought it would be really fun to put one flower right on the mama owl. Isn't it cute? Okay, so here we are with the butterflies now, adding those in. And then I'm going to bring in this teeny tiny little heart from the Mom Plus Me stamp set. Stamp that with my Distress Oxide ink in Salty Ocean around each of the butterflies. And I just love the little extra something this adds to the feel of this card. Now I'm going to be mounting this card onto a blue card base with some foam tape. Using foam tape on a pull tab card is crucial so that the recipient can easily grab hold of that tab and pull it up to make this card interactive. Just make sure you don't overlap the pull tab mechanism with that foam tape. Lastly, I am using the glitter pen from Lawn Fawn to add some glitter to each of the flowers and the butterflies as well. And that completes today's card. I hope that you are inspired to make a pull tab card and make a card for a mom in your life. Maybe it's just a friend who's a mom that needs some encouragement. Maybe it's your mom, maybe it's for your daughter. But make a card for a mom. We all need some encouragement right now, that's for sure. So thank you for watching, and make sure that you check out the scrapbookpal.com store for any of the things used in today's video. Thanks again for watching. Happy stamping. Bye.